blessed and privileged to have Heather Newman here from Microsoft to share more about the in-person local user group platform that's launching and the initiative that they're really supporting that I'm excited about. We've shared with you a little bit about this during our DynamicsCon fireside chat and in another kind of more intimate call we had maybe a month ago or something, but now is an opportunity, now that the platform is at public preview, to share more and possibly even see what it looks like, right, Heather?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, we're gonna whip
Awesome.
around.
Great.
Yep.
So please, without further ado, introduce yourself, tell us what's going on. And for those that don't know, I think everyone on this call probably knows by now, but if they don't, maybe give a little preview and then hopefully we'll leave some time at the end for questions. I know there's always questions.
Sure.
And we'll see where it goes. But we hope to have a kind of a dialogue here. So if you have questions while someone's talking, just put it in the chat. Molly and I'll see it and we'll fire it away, and keep yourself muted if you can, but if you just can't wait to say yay or something, you can unmute and scream and then mute again.
I approve of that for sure. So
love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. Well, here, I'm gonna make sure I have a screen share rocking here, and I'm gonna also make an introduction while we're doing this. So let's see here. I want to see your lovely faces again. Okay, are we seeing a couple people sitting at a desk? Yeah. Okay, rock and roll. So that's my front slide, and I'm gonna go to the second slide, and I'm gonna do some introductions and chit chat for a second. So first of all, thanks for having me. I'm so glad to be back again. The fireside chat was a blast, and it was great to meet a lot of you in the our smaller meeting before. My name is Heather Newman, and one thing, just as a tidbit for going out and speaking in these virtual ways, I love connecting with folks, and also that QR code is my LinkedIn QR code. So if you use the LinkedIn app on your phone, you can take it out if you want, and you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, just scan that QR code and boom, we are connected. And it's a great thing to do when you're speaking. So then all of a sudden, all the folks that are with you, as your attendees, you immediately get connected with them. It's kind of a neat thing to do when you're out speaking in the world. I'm on Twitter, Heather Newman, MS Power Plat, and also our Dynamics. I think there's probably like 6 Twitter accounts that I could probably put on here as well. But I also, I'm an avid blogger. I blog on medium.com. I have been in and around Microsoft for about 20 years. I was like, wow. And so my birthday and Sharepoint's anniversary are the same because we both started in 2001. I was a community member there, and I was a vendor at the time when it was called Tahoe. And I got the privilege of, should we do an event? Yeah, the SharePoint conference. Cool. Is there a partner ecosystem? No. Here's a list of 60 people. Go call them and ask them if they want to be partners. They all loved me because I was like, hey, you want to be in a keynote and a logo on a slide and, to do this and do that? And they were like, yes, who are you? And I was like, I'm just 30 years old and I don't know what I'm doing, but okay. So I was a theater major at the University of Washington, and so I've always been a gadget head and and into technology. But that was not my first love. My first love was theater and performing, and so I'm a published playwright, and I've been doing that for a really long time. And then I got connected into Microsoft through a theater friend to work on SharePoint, and I helped write and produce the first 125 case studies on SharePoint. And then I was trying to delete one of them, and I deleted all of them. And realized that there was no undo or recycle bin at the time. And so I had to go to the lab a few doors down and say, hey, fellas, can we maybe restore those, or am I going to get fired? And they were like, oh, yeah, maybe we should put that in the product. So you're welcome, everyone. So that happened. And then AvePoint, who I also worked for later, ended up creating the trash bin as an add-on as an ISV as well. So I've been in and around the company, either as a vendor, a consultant, a partner. I was an Office Apps and Services MVP, and now I'm back as a full-time employee. And my role is to lead our Dynamics 365 and Power Platform community success team as part of our engineering motion next to our products under James Phillips, which was formerly called the Business Applications Group. Now it's being called the Digital Transformation Platform Group. That change just happened. We also had some moving around of folks in our organization, and so it's expanding a little bit. Some of it's been public and out in the world, but we're looking at all of our different clouds at Microsoft and how they work together more. And so you'll see some more information about that coming out soon. I also wanted to introduce Ashley Feltz, who's on the call, who you can see. So Ashley is on my team and is one of our user group coordinators. If you have already put your user group in, she has been the one who has read your form, typed in your group, and created it on the back end, and has been doing a great job with that. So she's here today to say hello as well. So Ashley.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good morning, everyone. Great to put names.
Awesome. Good. Yep, cool. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our team. I think it's important for people to know who's who in the zoo, as I like to say. And I don't think we're always at Microsoft as transparent about those things as I think we should be. So that's something that I'm changing on our team and how we work. So our team, the community success team, we have a few different charters that we have, and obviously one of them is engaging with our community members, all of you, providing first-class experiences and human connections, and then creating programs that delight. So our charge is really working on how we can help solve problems and help with mentorship, help with upskilling, help with creating, cool things on the platform, using social media, how we not only, put up this user group site, but also the programs around it that surround it that can help everybody, just take things up to the next level or start if they've never started before. And also we're looking through, what kind of content do we put out? We're content creators and we're content producers, and we're co-producers with folks in our community. A lot of Microsoft valued professionals, MVPs, our super users, and many folks who have YouTube channels. That, everybody contributes in a different way to community. It's kind of come as you are, as I like to say. And so we're always here to support folks who are like, I'd like to start a YouTube channel. What do I do? Okay, well, let's talk about it. I'd like to start a user group. Great, let's talk about it. I really have been wanting to do a blog series. Okay, let's talk about it. So it's about supporting people to come as they are, to be in this community where we all come together around a passion around, a couple of different solutions and technologies. So just names to faces. I don't know if you've seen these over the years, but this is our leadership team. As far as our community space, I report to Siva Harananth. As I said, we're in the engineering group, and I partner with Paul Cooper. So we have a full design team that works with us at Microsoft, who help design all of the user group stuff and designs all of our swag and all that other kind of jazz. Gordon McDonald is marketing. They help us with messaging and content and all of that. And Ananth on our team helps run our platform. So the actual sort of the nuts and bolts of the platform, service, keeping it up, and all of that stuff, and any innovations that are happening there. His team, you might know Fawad and Pervin. You maybe have seen and heard their names before, and Sandy. So these are all folks on the platform team, and there's a whole set of vendors, developers that report into them as well. And Pervin's been around a long time in the Dynamics 365 space, and also has been helping run our MVP program. My team is continually growing. One of the things that's really, I believe, exciting is that Microsoft is investing in community and investing in a role like mine, investing in, growing our team. Right now, I have a couple of open headcount. I just actually, the Dynamics 365 Community Program Manager is hopefully starting next week, so I'm very excited about that, as is a new Dynamics Community Manager. You're kind of like, Heather, you see here community program managers and then community managers. What's the difference? Well, community program managers are full-time employees, and they're assigned to take care of one of our product communities. So I have 4 of them in total. We have another open head right now for Power Automate and Power Virtual Agents. So those folks are full-time employees who are assigned to take care of one of our communities. And then our community managers, our support staff, they also are assigned, the community managers are assigned to community. Ashley is one, for example, who is assigned to our user group coordination, right? We also have a new video producer, so hopefully our video qualities are going to go up a little bit. So that's kind of what the team looks like, and we have a couple of event managers as well. Any questions about that? I know that's not something you see very often, but I appreciate kind of knowing who's who, Yeah,
I really appreciate you sharing that, Heather, because I always wonder kind of who's running this, what kind of commitment levels for Microsoft. This shows a lot of commitment from Microsoft, so I think that's really great to show. And we see these names sometimes, we just don't know how they play and fit in. It's great to see. Thank you.
Cool. You bet. Awesome. Awesome. Very cool. So yeah, and hopefully expanding more as we go along. So yeah, so I'll just jump. I'm going to jump into user groups. Some of this you may have heard before. These are some of our user groups and the SharePoint Saturdays here in Los Angeles that I've been involved with and helped produce. But one of the things we were hearing, a few things. So product usage across the board has been growing faster than community, which is, I think, maybe a good problem to have, but it's also that, you know, maybe people don't know that there's a community, or they don't know how to get involved, or, you know, what's the conduit, right? Customers and community members have always said, you know, we want more connection with Microsoft, and you know, when I was a community member, and I always wanted that as well. The old user group experience was confusing. Many of you know, and you know, DCI was you know, running user groups. They still are running user groups, but they've shifted their business model, and we've been talking with them for a while now about our experience that we were building on our community sites. And so we've partnered with them. We'll continue to partner with them, but eventually the user groups, I think they'll be there for legacy, but I think they're not going to be supported in the way they were in the past by them. And if you've seen any of that messaging come out from them, that's pretty much on point with what they've been talking about with everybody else. User groups value independence. So user groups here, for what our purpose is for Microsoft, is that they're Microsoft supported with the infrastructure and programs, but they're community led and run. We don't want to run your user groups. We don't want to have a heavy hand in user groups. User groups should be independent, independently run by the community, but we're offering this infrastructure and programs to folks who would like to participate in it. So we said, you know, what do we want to do here? What we really wanted to reimagine the community experience. This has been going on, this conversation, for probably over a year, if not a little bit longer. And it was that, you know, could we really look at a more seamless experience between our in-product, our web, our user groups, and our events, and have that be a little bit more seamless instead of, you know, going to our community site, popping out to a third party and coming back. So that was what part of the reimagining. And then also investing in community advocates worldwide. So in traveling the world, which I have, I'm very blessed to have done that. And usually most of the time on Microsoft's dime, was that, you know, going around and doing workshops and, you know, conferences and SharePoint Saturdays. You know, sometimes when I was in a city, I'd be like, hey, who's the local Microsoft rep? Or, you know, they would just come and introduce themselves, and that would be awesome. And other times, nothing, right? People would say, I don't have a Microsoft person, or they are not involved, or we don't even know who they are. And so we thought, you know what, we need to change that. We need to really make that connection. And, you know, there's some states here in the United States that, you know, there isn't a Microsoft office close, right? And so who's your person, right? So we've created a program internally, you know, I'll call it Find Your Person unofficially, but it's called Project Connect. And so we're working on how does the field connect with local user groups and leaders and MVPs on a more regular basis, and how are they incented to do so? And then lastly, providing a free platform, depending, you know, on where your user group is in the world. Sometimes it's a paid membership or something like that. So we wanted the platform to be free and to support independent user groups. Then let's see where we're at, 718. Okay. The benefits are, you know, connecting more with us, hopefully a personalized experience, and then, you know, by, you know, being a part of a user group, succeeding and doing more at work because you're upskilling, you're networking, you're finding the answers you need, all that sort of thing. So I'm going to jump into a demo here in a second, but these are some of the links that we have set up for joining the community and finding a user group. And this is a landing page here of what this looks like. And let me do a couple of things real quick. I like to keep, I'm a big fan of Notepad. I love Notepad. It's so good, right? You can strip out all of the formatting on stuff. And so I usually keep that open with my presentation so I can easily cut and paste into chat, because if not, you get all the weird formatting, right? So those are the couple of aka.ms links that I just put in there. And let's see, I'm gonna figure out, do I have one more for you? Yeah, so those are those are the two that I have on the screen there. So anyway, the other thing would be is, I think I gotta figure out what the hashtag is for Dynamics, the cool hashtag. You know what I mean? Like we got the bot squad and the flow fam and all that stuff. I think, John, we need to figure out making one
I
up.
agree
You know
with
what
you.
I'm
That's
saying?
fine.
Okay. All right, cool. We got to figure that out. All right. So anyway, let me just go into a demo because that'll be more fun here. So let me stop sharing. Any questions about the user group stuff since we're paused and I'm going to jump into a demo? And I'll go into the
question about
Hi,
the demo.
hi. Yes, this is Tom. I have a quick question. If when you talk about no support for legacy, do you have any guidance on like what Microsoft's going to consider legacy content? Because I think that informs decision making on some of the existing user groups as to what value we could add to people on the versions.
Sure, Tom. Hi. What's your user group?
Well, I've participated with DCI and now with the DUG. So
Okay, got it. Okay, cool. Yeah, no worries. All good. So as far as what DCI is doing and saying that they're going to support legacy user groups, I'm interpreting what they're saying. So I don't represent them, but we've been in discussions with them. So they said that they are going to leave the user groups up on the site, but they've changed to that whole DAC, the acceleration community. So that's the focus of their business. So as far as we're concerned, Microsoft and this experience, what we've been doing, I've got the community site up here. Everybody can see. Yeah. Right. Okay. So as far as user groups go for the Dynamics space, and we have both Dynamics and Power Platform as far as user groups go. But as you can see, this is the new user group experience. And Tom, I'm going to answer your question kind of in the show and tell, if you don't mind. So so we've got the public preview up here. We've got the Dynamics user groups. And what I'm going to show you here is the join a group. You can see my location is Marina Del Rey, where I live. That's Bing location services. And what I'm showing here is these are leaders, folks, groups that have already decided to add their group into the experience. And as you can see, you've got Seattle Dynamics 365, Vancouver Dynamics. You've got, this is Kansas City Dynamics CRM, Houston D365 for BC and Nav. You've got a whole sort of smattering of different ways that people are putting in their user groups. You've got an AX, you got a BC Nav here, got a couple, that are Dynamics and Power Platform. So the deal with this is that what we thought is that we did not want to necessarily predicate exactly how people named. You have a name for your user group already, right? Like, for example, for us, it's Los Angeles Office 365 and SharePoint user group. It used to be just SharePoint. At some point, we decided, this Office 365 thing's kind of sticking, so we might as well put Office 365 in the name, right? Because it was a bigger expansion of, the technology and what we wanted to talk about. Although our roots were in SharePoint, our legacy, if you were, it was in SharePoint. So we decided at some point to change our name, and we updated our logo and stuff. So at this point, so Tom, just to your point, is that we, again, that come as you are sentence that I was talking about there. It's all of these for Dynamics 365 and moving to the cloud. I mean, that is the way obviously Microsoft is heading customers, but we also understand that people have their roots and have their discussions that are happening in focus areas and in different pieces of the product that they want to continue to have. So as you can see, people are putting in all kinds of names and all kinds of user groups in the Dynamics 365 community space. So I don't know if you have a GP or NAV or a user group that you want to bring in, great, bring it in. So we support that, I guess, is my answer. Does that answer your question?
So first, thank you. Sort of. The way I thought I understood it from the fireside chat was that, what we want to try to do, I think, DCI is trying to do it. I'm less enchanted with them lately, but we want to complement what Microsoft's doing, and it makes no sense to compete with what Microsoft's doing. And what I thought I understood is that Microsoft's going to focus on current versions. And I come out of the ERP space, right? So it's Nav, and there's a lot of people running on legacy versions, and they would like to have an ecosystem that makes them feel not sort of left out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I think that you are correct. And when Gordon and I were talking with y'all about this and in the fireside chat, we are concentrating on Dynamics 365 and all of the apps that are in the cloud. But we also know that there are user groups that are legacy products. So again, with the naming convention for these, we have pretty much said that we'd like Dynamics 365 in the title. We'd like the city or region in the title as well. But then if you want to put a focus of, BC or NAV in the title as well, because that's what you're going to focus on as a user group, we're fine with that. So I do feel like, yes, we are, supporting and looking for people to, move to Dynamics 365, but understand that there's a legacy of people who are going to continue to use those products, and we don't want to leave people behind either. So that's my answer to that. Is that, yeah?
All right. Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Heather.
All right, you're welcome. Absolutely. And someone else has their hand up. DW. Sorry, I can't say the name.
Yeah, sorry. This is Dave Weiser.
Hey, hi, Dave.
Coming from the partner community, what are the rules, restrictions, whatever, as far as partners and their engagement in the local user group? With DCI, they had some very strict rules about meeting attendance, leadership, that kind of thing. And as partners, a lot of times we like to join a lot of different local user groups so that we can provide support, educational opportunities, and that kind of thing to the local user groups. What's the partner engagement or rules, I guess, to use that word, for these local groups?
Absolutely. Great question. So we, again, we have a very open, an open policy about folks who can create and join a user group. I put the code of conduct in the chat, and I also put an FAQ in the chat too. Some of the FAQ stuff is things that we went through, but it's written, so you'll be able to see it. So as far as partners go, I feel if partners want to create user groups and have had them for years, I think Julie Yak was saying, I've had this for years, I'm a partner. And I was like, oh, that's great. Absolutely fine for a partner to have a user group. What we want to make sure, and I don't think anybody wants this, partner or no, is that, people who are starting user groups to just, all they do is recruit, all they're doing is soliciting, all they're doing is bothering people. So the language in the code of conduct around that is, we have some program participation. I'm not going to read through this, but there's definitely a no solicitation guidelines here about, please, no soliciting folks and prohibited uses. And I think it's pretty clear about that. But if you're a partner and you want to have a user group, that's great. Now, somebody asked me yesterday, they're like, we want a private user group. We want to have a private, and it wasn't a partner, but it said we want a private one where, we control, who's in and out and all of that stuff. And then that's not part of the spirit of what this is either. So with the group membership, anybody can join. Anybody can join anybody else's user group. We're working through, if for some reason, something goes down, we have a really good line of sight into, speaking with Ashley as our coordinator and our alias of, something that, needs to be handled for some reason or a conflict. But as far as that goes, please have your user group. All good. We do want it focused around the products. So, just a user group to have a user group for your company. I think we would probably say, is it like, we really should be having it about either one of the products of Power Platform or Dynamics 365. So sort of choose where you want to be in the world. So that's the guidance I would give there. Yeah.
And
Good.
Heather, we did have a question. This is Molly. Hi.
Hey.
Will you allow community to have links to sites for forums? So will you allow people to use these platforms to communicate forum links within? So kind of, deeper on a question and answer kind of thing. Can you bring the two together?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I think what we want to do is we want to continue. We want to have major technical conversations and the posting of questions staying in the forum. and having user group discussions in the user groups themselves. But I feel like if you're actually posting questions, I think it's probably, you're going to get a quicker answer, I would think, if we continue using the forums in the way that they were intended, which is for Q&A. So I guess the answer is yes, that if you post a link in the user groups, but I would opt as a leader to say, hey, y'all, we'll have our discussions during our user group meetings. If you have a question that's sort of specific to user group, or that you are looking for that group to answer, but I would always opt to put something in the forum. That's how I would handle that. Yeah. So Stephen, is it possible to create a homepage for NavBC with all the UGs listed below? This way the user community can see all the LUG within the product line. Stephen, that's a great question and request. And I think it's something that we can talk about in our roadmap. So so the answer is maybe. How about that?
Now you're making me laugh, Heather.
I know that's true though, So and that was so Microsoft. So, but what am I gonna do, right? So here, let me say a couple of things about that. So, for all intents and purposes, right? So we've got, we've got our Dynamics community, and then we've also got our Power Platform community, right? So just to give you a little bit of slice of this on, when you're, it's interesting when you build something, right? Then you see all the great things about all the choices you've made in the past, and then you see all the oh man, wow, interesting, right? Of like the choices you made about how something's architected, right? So we're a little bit, we're working on our information architecture, if you will, of our communities, right? This is our landing page for Power Platform, and we've got, all the 4 communities. So right now for Power Platform, we've got 4 communities, if you will, all under one instance of Coros and Lithium, which is what we build on for our community platform. But Power BI is a community, apps, Automate, and Power Virtual Agents, right? And then we have Dynamics, which is also on it looks the same for the user groups, but it's on a separate platform. It's on Intelligent. So trying to figure out how to, do something across all of them has been really interesting from an engineering perspective. So, and thinking about, Stephen, what you're asking about, I do like that. I don't know if it's something, because of the conversation before about, moving forward and as far as, new technology and the cloud versus, what is considered legacy. It's a great point, and I will bring it up to our team and make sure we get an answer for you on that, because I don't know if we do that or not, but I can check. And I understand the hopefulness of something like that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say thanks, because obviously as a community, and Tom kind of reiterated it, there's so many NAV folks still out there haven't gotten to BC, and there's so many chapters throughout the United States, Toronto. Some have joined the community, some have not, but so much going on. Everybody needs a home, and this would at least give them a picture of the big home in the, I hate saying it, North American space.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I've been talking a lot with Rick McCutcheon in the Canada space as well. And I know, some regions and areas have some serious structure to them, right? And also, I don't know, on a completely human level, we all are leaders in our spaces because we love it and we're passionate about it and we want to give back, right? And so, but there's also a sense of ownership with something that you've built over a really long time, right? I've owned 2 businesses, I've ran a bunch of different groups for different things, and there's a sense of that is really important, right? And so when you start mucking around a little bit with people, and you're like, well, wait a minute, where and this and that, then it's a bit of change management, I guess, as well. But I definitely want to hear and understand how we can best support. And so something like this is a great thing for me to take back and say, all right, hey, how are we going to address this? Are we going to address it? Is it going to be part of the roadmap or not? And if either way, we need to be transparent and tell people what we're doing. So, so we got Ashley, we got that one on the list for sure. So yeah, let me go back and see if there's any other chat questions. Am I missing something, Molly? I'm just trying
There
to.
is one. Yep. Is there any ETA on getting access to the community Teams tenant to host the virtual meetings?
Excellent question. Awesome.
It is.
Javajan, yes. Okay. Yeah, so ETA coming
Well, maybe
soon.
share. Some people don't even know, Heather, that would be a benefit. So
Yeah, sure. I should totally talk about that too. So not only are we, looking at the user groups being listed here. So one of the things to think about as far as the user groups and this experience. So obviously we have this, this is our community platform for Dynamics and then Power Platform. And then we've added in this area for user group creation, right? And just, as an example, coming into Milwaukee, that's a Power Platform one. It's interesting. Oh, I see. They put that in over here too, huh? Let's get into an actual one that says Dynamics. How about that? How about Chicago? I went to high school in Wheaton, just for a historical reference there. I see a little bit more because I'm an admin, okay? So I realized that this morning, but you can see we've got the group leaders up here, the way to contact them. They've got so many members so far. Group information, collaborate with BCUG and NavUG members around the Chicagoland area, plan meetings, et cetera, et cetera. And then every user group gets an ID, so we can help find you if we need to talk with folks. So we had to do that in the background in the group interests. So in here, eventually, and you can also work on creating an event. My stuff is a little bit different. This actually will open up a form for you to fill out because we're all filling out forms both for creations of groups and creations of events right now. Admin functionality along with the Teams tenant is coming. So anyway, so as far as the community tenant, so about a year ago during this time when the pandemic was beginning, the Teams engineering team had been asking for a while about wanting to have a tenant for community members so they could host meetings and or virtual events. It got pushed to the forefront last March and April, and so they've been working on a pilot of that since then. And so it was funded, and we are working with the Teams team, Caruana Gatimu and Lori Popmeyer, who run the show over there, are good friends, and we've worked together a long time. And so the community tenant would be thinking about, that we're on Teams right now, right? And so that would be each user group, the leaders would get and request a Teams in the community tenant. And it would be a place for you to have a center of gravity to share documents and to, set up Teams meeting like this for your team. And I believe it's in either E3 or E5 licenses that the leaders get, and then you would have your members come in as guests. And so that's going to happen soon. We've been doing a bit of a pilot with folks to get some feedback on that. The connectivity as far as having, what I'm hoping to have is when you hit create a group, it creates a group on our portal, and it also gives you a Teams at the same time. And so that's a functionality that we're working on in the back end. But I believe hopefully after MBAS, we're gonna MBAS is May 4th. May the 4th be with you, by the way. Going to start allowing more folks to get into the community tenant even before we have that functionality. So I'm thinking here, hopefully in a few more weeks, we're gonna open that up slowly and into sort of small sections and do sort of so many at a time. So next couple of weeks, hopefully. Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
Oh, thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Just I have one more question, if you don't mind. So I'm not sure I'm too early to ask this question. So are the members, will the members be notified when we create an event in the group?
Will the members be notified when we create? I believe yes. That's the functionality that's happening right now. Ashley, is that right?
I'm sorry. Go ahead and repeat that.
When you create an event in the group, are members notified, or do leaders have to give them a notification?
No, you can notify the members that are already in the group. So as long as they are a part of the group, they should get a notification that an event was created.
Yeah, and and it's not email, it's a in community message. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. One of the things we are working on is email. I know that a lot of people are like, I want to email my group. And one of those yeah, everybody wants that. I want that actually. So it's on the roadmap and it's not here yet, but it is something that we are looking at and trying to figure out how we do that and allow that functionality. Because I know that's something, for example, with Meetup, that's great. You know, it's like, hey, I'm going to send everybody to the parking. Boop, I can send everybody an email. So that is something on the roadmap. We don't have it yet. So.
Got it. Yeah, I got just one more question. Sorry.
It's fine. Please, that's why I'm here.
As a follow-up for that. So first thing is notifying when event is created. And second thing is, how do we send the reminders to the members to sign up for the event if they haven't signed up yet? Like similar to basically like, Meetup,
Yeah, I think for us for right now, I would use the discussion area to send a note to folks, and I think for the functionality of being able to message everybody all at the same time, we don't have that yet, but it is coming, and I don't have a date on it per se quite yet, but I know that we're when you have a big event like MBAS coming, there's usually a lot of functionality that's going to come in and around that. So, yep. So not sure exactly the date, but I know that is coming. Yep. So for right now, it would be sending reminders in a one-off. Yep. And Sean, number one for group messaging. Yeah. Mary Miller, how will these online communities affect in-person events, if at all? I think that, I don't know. I think we found that what I've been seeing is that virtual events are more inclusive because people can come as they are to them, and they can, it's like you can attend more, and which I don't know. Sometimes I think we've gotten into a situation where there's too many things going on, right? And they've got the screen, drain and all of that. I feel like having, with the sort of the advertising, if you will, of the portal, right, of the pages up on the community sites. It's a place to list your group, to kind of advertise the group, to show people what events are happening in the world that is a public area, right? And then with the addition of the community tenant with the teams, that's kind of the place where you want to sort of that center of gravity and live, right? Where you're having conversations with each other, where you're able to post things, where you have your recordings, all that sort of thing. So it is more private in a way. And I think that, for me, I had already started doing virtual events just because of my travel schedule. So it was like, could we do one virtually and then one in person? So we were kind of doing that. And I don't know. I feel like from now on, I don't know if I would have maybe an in-person social event. But I feel like virtual is going to be a part of what we're doing going forward. You know what I mean? Because people have busy schedules, and everybody's got a lot of different things going on, and who knows about how things will open up and change and all of that. So I feel like we're going to get into some sort of a hybrid world, but I don't know if I'd have a user group where I wouldn't do it on Teams where everybody could participate. But that does predicate a difference in sort of equipment and setup, right? So like we're all here and we're in front of our computers and it's all fine. But when like I'm going over to the Playa Vista office, I would be taking my computer and all of that. And would I be set up with a webcam so that the person could see me giving a presentation, not just in the room, but broadcasted out, right? So it's us learning also about how to deal with that sort of thing equipment wise when we do start going back. Do we have the right equipment? Are the rooms set up that way? Like, is it a Microsoft Office? Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Then you have to like become a production person as well, because the speaker that comes in, do they have a webcam? Do we use their computer? Where does the PowerPoint live? Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? It's not just like, oop, boop, we're going to put up a show. It's a little bit more involved than that, right? So Mary, to your question, I think that there's a lot of question marks, but I think there's a lot of learning together that we can do. And one of the things I'm working on right now with the team is a playbook for how to run both virtual and hybrid user groups and events, and not just from my experience doing it, but bringing in best practices and tips and tricks and having it be super clear about the how-tos and templates, templates of a budget template and a sponsorship template, how to ask for sponsorship, how to, request speakers. What are the other third-party, people use Sessionize and love it. I love Sessionize, there's all kinds of good things that we can share with each other on, best practices. I learn new things all the time of how somebody does something. And so I think I think it's going to be a hybrid world. And we'll all have to sort of put on our thinking caps of like, oh, wait a minute, now we're back in the office. How do we bring the goodness of what we've figured out virtually there? So yeah, cool. Right on. I hope that helps. But that's sort of what I've been thinking about that too. So more questions? No? More questions? Let's see what else I have on for slides. So I'm going to show you this as well. So the user group request form that is out on the site.
And this is ready right now. Everyone on this call could go and request a user group if they wanted to, right, Heather?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
And if Ashley is feeling so moved, maybe putting the AKA link to requesting a group in the chat would be awesome.
Yep.
Cool.
On it.
Right on. Thank you. Awesome. So it's a little long, okay, the form, but we are trying to ask for a lot of information. It is what it is. So, but one of the things it is, user group name, this will be the title. Consider the following naming convention: user group name, location, name of product, and or focus area. If you have an existing user group name from a previous community, please continue to use that. Redmond Dynamics user group, just as an example. We're asking everybody to check out the code of conduct, give it a read, make sure you're happy and all of that. So that's in there. The description. This would be what you want to describe yourself as, that goes in the description on the actual page. Where are you in the world? This has been an interesting one because there's some people that want to be virtual. They're like, I don't want to have a location. And right now, we are sort of location based. That is in the roadmap of thinking about what if it is truly just a virtual group. The thing is, though, is that most likely you're still going to host a meeting, and that meeting is going to be in a time or a time zone, most likely, right? So unless you actually have a TARDIS and you're moving around and it's super exciting. So but
infinite realities in a
right.
simulation theory, maybe, but most people would probably need a time.
Yeah, or a time zone-ish where, so yeah. So this is one that, we're requiring right now, but we are giving a think to. Who's the leader, email address and all of that fun stuff if you're an MVP. We do everything in the community by community profile. So that's how your handle and how what your name is in the community. And so we ask everybody for that. We're big fans of having 2 leaders, just because it's bearing the burden yourself of anything really in life. It's always great to have a pal with you. So it is optional. It's not a requirement, but we highly suggest folks have co-leaders, and some people I know have entire committees and boards and all of that stuff. So for this, for creating the group, just 2, 1 required, 2 suggested, and if you want to, yes, you can have 3, you can have 5, absolutely. So you can have, but that comes later, right? Once we get you set up, we can get the other members in there as well. So yep, Julia, you bet. Also, email address if they're MVP, the URL, and would you like to submit your own user group banner? So each of the user groups, you can have a cover page photo or a banner for your user group up on the site. So I don't know if a lot of people have actually done that yet over here. These are all, here we go, Atlanta area, so they have theirs. We have stock photography, as you can see. That's Microsoft stock photography until folks get and want to put their picture up. So some people are submitting those right away. Toronto did, for an example, as well. So, and I think that's the end. And if you say yes, Ashley sends out a private message to grab that photo from you. So that's the That's the form. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and to get a new one, Ashley just put the link in there, and that goes directly to this form. Any questions about that?
Got a question, kind of back to the contact base of each community, especially as folks on this call may be interested in setting up new communities. And that question is, will leaders get support from Microsoft on getting their customer list added to the communities or to their communities?
That one, I will say no. As far as anything that is lists, emails, all of that stuff, Microsoft, we can't touch in any way, shape, or form. So with as far as inviting your members, we do have an email language that we're sending to leaders so that they can use to invite members. And some people are like, I don't even have the email addresses of my members. So I know that there's a lot of folks that are doing things many interesting ways, is that wherever your community is, if it is, say, if you're gonna move over and bring your community, bring your user group into this infrastructure, folks are using email. Depending on where they have their group, they're using messages, but they're also using that language to tell them where it is. And you can take a link of your user group and give it to folks and say, hey, we're moving, or however you want to message that. But we're not doing bulk uploads or anything like that. We don't actually have any of that stuff anyway. So from DCI or anybody else, so we don't have. We have people who have joined the community, and we know people from their user IDs and all of that, but we don't collect that kind of information and can't legally. So, yep, Jonathan.
Yeah, I was just wondering, can you talk any more? Let's say I have a user group and I want a speaker. Will there be any? What kind of help will Microsoft provide me to get me to bring content to my session?
Yeah, we have a bunch of stuff that's going to come online right around and right after MBAS. That's all about leader help, and so I probably need to message that out a little bit more as well, maybe in our FAQ or in another blog post. But when Ashley and we have a team of coordinators, and Ashley is our lead on that, and so they're creating the groups, creating the events. We know that there will be requests for speakers that come in. We're working with the Microsoft tech community as well. So, another community at Microsoft, the Office, SharePoint, OneDrive, that space. They have a speaker listing on their community, and we're deciding if we're going to leverage that and see if people want to just be listed there. So that's just that's community speakers. But from Microsoft speakers, we are going to have probably another form, I would imagine, with maybe a Power Automate on the back end. And we have some of that already where you can put in requests so that we can help you with that. So that's
I just know that's always can be a pain where,
yeah.
Organizing the meeting is the half of it, and then what's the meeting about is the other half, and getting some help there, either a call to partners or a call to MVP, a call to Microsoft to come and have a speaking slot or session.
Yeah.
Great.
We want it to be more automated, obviously, and also use our own technology for that. So we've also been talking about a Power App. We've been talking about a lot of different solutions for that. We don't have it built yet, but we definitely know that that's something everybody wants. So, yep, coming soon.
Great.
Yep, absolutely. Let me see if I've got any other fun slides here. Let's see. Yes. So these are the Power Platform, aka.ms new user group. Actually, you might want to put that one in too, because some folks are also Power Platform. And then our alias as well. You might want to put that in there. That gets to Ashley, and I see it as well. For questions and everything. That was our announcements. This was that Project Connect that I was telling you about, so a community-driven team of Microsoft volunteers. So if there are, if you have, I guess, how many of you actually work with your local Microsoft field folks? Do you know who they are? Do you have good connections with them? I'm curious. Anyone? I see some head nodding. Yep.
Yeah.
Jivan, yeah.
Yeah, you can call me Jeev.
Yeah. Jeev, okay, awesome. Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, so I work here with Microsoft Singapore, local, so the community leader or organizer, I would say. So we have monthly EFI call, and then frequent calls on the country level as well. Where they keep, we just keep posting about our events and upcoming activities, and they do support wherever they can support, like finding speakers or helping with the, of course, the before the before the COVID, it was much more support from them, but right now it's not that much. It's all virtual, except speakers. Really much.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, if you do know yours and you work with them, please let me know or let Ashley know, because I would love to get them enrolled in the program, and it'll be great for them to do so. So there's a big push internally. You'll hear about it at MBAS. I'm putting my email address in there, so you all have it too if you want to email me about anything anytime. But just so you have that. But yeah, that link, that aka.ms Project Connect, is an internal link only. But I wanted to show this slide so that you know that we're working on it. If you know somebody, just let me know who it is, just their names, and we can definitely work it out. And Jeremy, absolutely, we need sort of community speakers, in one, and then requesting Microsoft speakers in another, and separate lists, I think, for speaker resources would be great. I also want to be doing some speaker, some training, putting some training out and some prep and all of that out in the world as well. I think that will be really good. If you haven't already, by the way, come on, slides. MBAS is coming on May the 4th, and I'm really excited about, I think you will see probably more community members at MBAS than ever before. We've definitely, I think, thrown some good elbows on that one. And so, there'll be a lot about the user groups, a lot about community, a lot about celebrating community in it. It's a free event. It's all day long, and it's our sort of next, big event for Microsoft coming out of Ignite. Are people signed up and registered? Did you even know about it? I'm curious. If you knew about it, yeah?
Does Ashley want to drop the link in the chat, maybe, too?
Yeah. Yep.
That'd be great.
Yep.
We do have David Singleton has his hand raised as well. I want to make sure that we get to his question.
Sure, yeah. Oh, yeah, we're almost done, aren't we? Goodness.
We are.
The hour flew by yet again with all of you lovely ones. So, okay. Anyway, yes, go ahead.
David, do you want to talk?
Yes, sorry. No, I put my hand up to say that I did have a lot of contact with the local Microsoft people, but not now since COVID. Sorry, it was just I thought we were putting our hands up to say yes. Sorry about that.
We were high-fiving as well, so it's all good. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, David, who's your person?
Sorry? It was a lot of people. It's all changed, but we used to have a lot of, sorry, I'm bad with names. We had a regular community meeting. So we used to have group meetings every 2 weeks, and then you try to get to one every month, and we had a lot of shows here in Dubai. It was really great. So, but since COVID, it's all died. I haven't been there for quite a while now, unfortunately.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Yeah,
they shut it all down. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've all had so much and everything shut down, unfortunately, right? So, okay. Yeah. So anyway, though, but if you know folks, if you are in touch with them, just again, please let us know or mention it to them. It's called Project Connect, and we definitely want to get as many Microsoft Field folks signed up as possible. I'm coming for them, and they know it. It's good. So very excited. So yeah. Anything else? We've got 2 more minutes left, and anything you want to ask me about anything community or any of that, I'm happy to answer. Happy to help. Anybody wants to turn on a camera and give some jazz hands? That's always fun.
Love it.
And, you can't take the show choir out of the girl, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Well, and one more thing. I just want to say thank you, first of all. When community to me is family, and I have so many. I've been blessed. Whenever you do something for a long time, you have such amazing friends. I was just on a podcast with a few friends from the Power BI area, and we were just talking about, all the wonderful things that have happened, because of being part of community. And so I know when change comes, and I'm really happy that I'm helping shepherd this change. There's going to be some bumps. There's going to be some things that are like, oh, wait a minute, we didn't think of that, or and hopefully moments of this is cool, and so, but we are in public preview, and we did this way on purpose. When you roll out something in public preview, it means that we want your feedback, that we're trying to figure it out, minimum viable product, and that general availability is coming, and we're going to continue to work on both the infrastructure and the programs to make them what we need, what you need, what we all need to be successful and to feel supported. So I'm always open to hearing feedback and to listening. And so I'm happy to have those conversations in this kind of a forum. So thank you so much for having us on to do that with everybody, and also one-on-one. Again, you have my email, you have my Twitter. Like I am open for business, as they say, to talk about all of these subjects and to help. On all kinds of levels, whether it's, the user groups, community, mentoring, how do I do XYZ, and all of that. Alex, we can create a group around a particular topic. We are working on where those are going to go. So if you want to do that, let us know and we'll figure out where to place it, because that is one thing, right? We're by product right now, right? And that's how the communities are. We're trying to figure out where we're going to put interest groups. So great question. So yeah, let us know. All right, it's 8:01. I went over.
Thanks,
Sorry.
Heather. And I just say, yeah, I'll just reiterate. I've been a part of this process for a while and part of the advisory committee, and I would say Heather is extremely open to talking with any of you, any ideas you have. She is all in on community, working what seems like 24 hours a day on it. So take her up on her offers and dive right in. And we here at Dynamics User Group are here to support you and support Microsoft in this effort. So good luck, Heather, and thank you so much for your time with our team.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your support, Jonathan, Molly. Appreciate it. All right. Later, skaters, as they say.